Hey YouTube, how's it going? I've got Lenovo's brand new Legion 7i Pro or Legion Pro 7i. I don't know, one of those. Um, it's got the RTX 4080 i9-13900HX, 32 gigabytes of 5600 megahertz RAM, and a 1 terabyte SSD. And right next to it here, I've got my old faithful Legion 7 AMD Advantage Edition with the 6800H and the 6700M. Now, the first thing to get out of the way is the Legion 7 Pro I, the Legion 7 this year is definitely has a few less features than the Legion 7 from last year. The first and most noticeable being a lack of RGB coming out of the rear vents. The rear logo no longer lights up, and your connections on the back no longer are illuminated. The less obvious changes are the keyboard deck, I believe, is plastic this year, and the trackpad is plastic instead of glass, I believe. You do still get the pressure sensitive WASD keys, which I never bothered trying to use these. If you've used these before and they actually like work in game, let me know in the comments down below. So the only other major change this year to the frame of the laptop itself, other than the lighting and the keyboard deck and the trackpad, is the ports. You get 4 USB-A ports and 2 USB-C on the Legion 7 this year, as compared to 4 USB-C and 2 USB-A on the Legion 7 last year. So good job, Lenovo. You listened to me. Actually, what I said would be nice is 3 and 3 maybe, instead of 4 and 2, but they went for 4 USB-A, 2 USB-C. So while it obviously isn't great to downgrade your flagship laptop, um, those changes have equated to, you can see right here, the RTX 4080 Legion 7 is cheaper than the RTX 3080 Ti Legion 7 on sale for 20% off. So you get like $1,000 drop in the base MSRP, something like that, for sacrificing those few features.
Taking a look at weight, it comes in at 2.6 kilograms, just a hair more than other full-size gaming laptops I've reviewed. You want to add on, if you want to carry around the 330-watt charger, that's going to give you another kilogram. If you're just going to class or somewhere like that you don't plan on playing video games, you can just tote along a USB-C charger like this Lenovo 140-watt one. The internals, it's pretty similar to last year's Legion 7. I did notice the fan blades were a little different looking. Other than that, one actual improvement to this year's model is that the speakers are kind of more outward facing now and not straight up downward facing. So let's see how they sound. On this model is a 2560 by 1600p, 240 Hz, 400 nits, 100% sRGB, 84% DCI-P3. The battery, streaming YouTube. I didn't expect it to do great here, and it did okay, 5.5 hours. Inside the Lenovo Vantage software, it's pretty similar to what it has been before. You have your different performance modes. One very notable change this year is there's custom modes where you can set custom fan curves, custom power levels. A lot of people, I've seen this in Discords I'm in, really want that custom fan control. I've seen people who said they didn't get a Legion and got something else because they wanted that custom fan control so bad. Honestly, I think it's a lot more convenient just to use the built-in profiles and they do a well enough job. But hey, it's there if you want it, so more choice is always good. To be honest, I've mostly just been using balance because that's more than enough for everyday use. Of course, you do have your mux switch in addition to advanced Optimus. Inside the battery tab, if you see me at an airport, don't tell the TSA that my battery is 4 watts over the 99.9 watt limit. And you have your battery conservation mode, of course, again this year. Stress testing it by running Cinebench for 20 minutes, we can see it's still running at a cool 84 degrees Celsius, and we're still having no problem pulling about 150 watts. Moving on to the graphics card, running 20 minutes of Ada 64, it's running at about 72 degrees Celsius, and no problem pulling around 150 watts still. Jumping into a combined stress test of Cinebench and Ada 64, we can see the CPUs running at about 80 watts and the GPUs pulling about 150. So total power level capable of about 200, 210 watts. So while actually gaming in performance mode, we can see here Far Cry 6 pulling 210 watts, running at that 50 to 55 decibels. And there actually is a prompt in the BIOS where you can change it between if you want performance mode to run at 50 or 55 decibels. I imagine at 50 decibels you're going to get the same performance, just going to see a little bit higher temperatures. Putting it in balance mode runs at about 150 watts, 140 watts, somewhere in that neighborhood. But you go down to like 40 to 45 decibels. Alright, moving on to our benchmarks. In 3D Mark, we get a combined score of 18,721 and a graphics card score of 19,193. This completely blows away the 3070 Ti, and of course I didn't test the 3080 last year because I keep gradually stepping up every year to more and more expensive laptops that I'm reviewing, but I don't have a problem. I can actually stop at any time. In Cinebench R23, the multi-core score, the improvement over the i7-12700H from last year is just insane. Although I think if we looked at the i9 from last year, it wouldn't quite be as crazy, because it was also like 500 cores. The single core score isn't as impressive of a jump, only like a 8% improvement from last year's i7-12700H. Taking a look at some game benchmarks, we'll start off with Far Cry 6, 1080p at ultra settings, 139 frames per second. Far Cry is a more CPU-oriented game. We can change that some by switching into 1440p, but we still see it far on top at 124 frames per second. So at its native resolution of 1600p in Far Cry 6, it gets 113 frames per second, almost doubling the 2-generation-old Legion 5 Pro with an RTX 3070. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla at 1080p ultra settings, 138 frames per second. Bumping up to 1440p, 109 frames per second at ultra settings. So if you want to see another gaming benchmark, I have uploaded a separate video showing the Cyberpunk 2077 built-in benchmark if you want to check that out. I will eventually upload some more gaming benchmarks. So this year Lenovo has simplified their lineup, only offering a Legion Pro 5 and a Legion Pro 7 with either AMD or Intel processors and NVIDIA graphics. Removing the former middle-of-the-pack Legion 5 Pro, the Legion Pro 7 this year is really closer as far as a model to the Legion 5 Pro from last year, except you get the perky RGB keyboard. And of course the top-tier graphics cards options. I think this is overall a smart move by Lenovo, losing a little bit of flair but focusing on what they do best, selling some of the best value gaming laptops. Although I am curious to see whether or not they introduce in 2024 a new top-tier gaming laptop, like the Legion Pro 7, the Legion Double Pro 7. Okay, they would probably go with Legion 9. Of course, they would have to throw in Pro either before or after the 9. So that's all I got. As always, thanks for watching.